The Chicago Bears continue to climb the power rankings in the NFL. Where do they rank statistically after week 7, heading into week 8? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're going to talk about comments from Jaquan Brisker and what exactly Ben Johnson has been bringing to this team. And the Chicago Bears lead the NFL in this surprising category. We'll talk about all that, plus a new trade target that has popped up for the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And listen, the Chicago Bears, man, have moved a little bit up the power rankings, right? After 4 wins in a row, even though, the opponents haven't necessarily been the strongest, the Chicago Bears have gone up from number 16 last week to number 13, right? And they are listed as one of the teams to watch along with the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos as well. So listen, the Chicago Bears, people are starting to take notice that there's something about this Bears football team. And despite what fans internally will have you believe in regards to Caleb Williams that don't really watch football, Caleb Williams has really grown this season. Now, we're coming off Caleb Williams' worst game this season so far. And, the expectation is that he's going to play much better. He has to play better against this Baltimore Ravens team. I don't care what their record is. You do not want to overlook with Lamar coming back. You do not want to overlook the Ravens team. And as I've said many times before, the Bears do not have the luxury of overlooking anybody this season. The Bears need to prepare for every single team like that team is undefeated. That's what they need. Every game is their Super Bowl. That's how they need to put it all out on the line. But it's good to see that the Chicago Bears are growing in some areas and that, you're starting to see a little bit more recognition over, hey, this Bears team is not as bad as what we made them seem out to be. Now, as being a Bears fan, we all know there's been times where the Bears have looked like they're going in the right direction before and things fall off the damn cliff. Hell, we just had it last season, right? But it's a little bit different in the sense that how this team is winning games. They are grinding it out. There is a lot of confidence in this team, and we are seeing players starting to slowly play better, right? Darnell Wright, who started off the season in a struggle, has been playing better. Tariq Stevenson has put 3 really good games together. No, well, not 3.5 because he did leave last game early with injury, but he's put some really good games together, right? And you like to see that. And so, listen, the Bears' offense has been really inconsistent so far, right? And that's due to a number of factors. Us not having a solid run game outside the last 2 weeks or anything like that. But you know what also the Bears do surprisingly lead the NFL? I said that they lead the NFL in a surprising stat. They lead the NFL in big plays per game. That's it. They have the most big plays per game through week 7 in the NFL. And when you look at it, the Bears have 48 big plays while playing 1 less game than a lot. So when you look at the averages, the Bears are averaging 8 big plays per game, and that is 1 more play than the team right below them, and that is the Los Angeles Rams that average 7.1. So the Bears are making steps. But like I've said before, the big plays, and you have all these advanced numbers and weird things that are tracked now that never been tracked in football, but it's good to have that number and look at the number of big plays that the Bears do make. But the thing is that we're missing on some of the give me's, right? And you can look at it 2 ways. For my pessimistic Bears fans, they can look at that and say, well, you can't survive off big plays and you're missing the give me's very often. So how sustainable is this? If you want to be more optimistic about the view, you can say, hey, the fact that we're getting big plays, I'd rather have to work on tightening up the gimmies and the fact that we are consistent in making big plays, and we should be decent in that. And I can't really argue either way of how people want to look at that when it comes down to it. For what it's worth, of rushing plays above 10 yards, the Chicago Bears have 27 of those, which also leads the NFL, which is surprisingly enough, with our run game being one of the things that have hurt us over the course of this season. We look at big pass plays, which is over 20-plus yards. The Bears have 21 of those, right? So that's 48 big plays. Again, the Bears have done a pretty damn good job at making those. If you start adding in some of those gimmies that we miss as a team, both on the ground and in the air, hey, what does this offense look like then, right? And so the fact that you're seeing Ben Johnson have on this Bears offense is following up statistically. We're seeing it there, right? And we're seeing that. And I wish something like that was tracked for defense as far as like big stops. I don't know how you quantify that, but I'm sure the Bears have a number of those also. The run game has exploded over the last couple of weeks. Now it's about finding consistency in your run game, right? Like it's great. Having what we've had the last 2 games is great. But what do we do now to make it more consistent part of our offense to where we have more balance, right? Ben Johnson said this as well. He says, we have to get it all cleaned up. Good teams don't have so many self-inflicted wounds. And that's another thing that's been holding this team back is those penalties, right? And this is something that Ben Johnson has labored. He's gone off about all the way dating back to the first rookie minicamp, right? We're talking about the rookie minicamp, not even with your vets in there. And so, there are clear still things that need to be addressed in this offense. We are far from being the well-polished team that Ben Johnson wants us to be, as a team. We are far away from that. We have not yet reached that. And the question then becomes about how do we get there? And that's what the Bears are going to be trying to figure out here is how do we consistently get to that place? How do we consistently get to where we need to be? And that's an answer that we don't really have, a question that we don't really have the answer to yet. We got to see. I think if we, in this game against the Ravens, we get to a place where our run game and our pass game are more connected, right, and more in synergy, then we start seeing things take off. Now, we've had 2 weeks of a really solid run game. Let's get back to our pass game, which was really solid, and let's see where we're going to be in that. And things aren't nearly as bleak as what some of the skies falling Bears fans will have you believe, right? You got Bears fans that would have you thinking, oh my God, this team is so terrible. They're not really doing it. The Bears are 10th in point per game. They're 14th in passing offense, right? So say what you will about Caleb in the missed throws and where we could be without that. That's a fair thing. But we are 14th. We are in the top half of the NFL as far as passing. Rush offense, we have now moved up to 8th in rushing offense. That's what a solid, again, the Bears had 2 really big games, but again, that's what you need. If the Bears can hover around around midway, right, but for both those stats for the rest of the year, that's going to be a pretty solid year for the Chicago Bears. The Bears are now averaging 129 yards per game. Now, we got to see again, it's been a big 2 games. Let's see what we make of it consistently and how we continue to do that. But those are in total offense. The Bears are averaging 346 yards per game, 12th in the NFL. 12th. We're 14th in third down conversions at converting 40% of that. We're 21st in red zone. That's where we need to get better at. 50% of our red zone situations we end up scoring on. We need to be better than that. I want that closer to 70%. That's ideally what I want it to be at. If the Bears can be closer to 70% in that, listen, that's where you get to. Sacks allowed. The Chicago Bears are the number 1 in sacks allowed team, meaning we don't allow that many sacks. That's huge for a team that throughout the last 2 quarterbacks, really 2.5 quarterbacks, if you really want to be real on it, we have not done a great job at protecting our quarterback for a while, right? And so now that the Bears are getting closer to that, I think that's a really good thing that we're doing as well. So things are moving up for the Bears, and that's all I'm saying, man. Things are starting to look better for the Bears. It's good to see that Caleb Williams is not in the top as far as quarterback sacked. He's the 21st most sacked quarterback in the league. And keep in mind, that tracks all quarterbacks that have checked into games that aren't even starters. Cam Ward has already been sacked 30 times this season, right? So, the fact that the Bears have avoided that does show some growth. And that's all I'm saying is that the Bears are progressing. And anybody who tries to act like the Bears haven't progressed or haven't taken steps up, they aren't just watching this team in reality. The Bears also 6th in turnovers. We've only allowed 5 or given up 5 turnovers as an offense on the entirety of the year. The Bears are making the proper steps offensively. And we just got to see what we're going to be, with that and how consistent our run game can be. And when you look at the defense, Bears are 25th in points allowed. There you go. Passing defense, 17th. Rush defense, 28th. We know that that's something that definitely needs to improve. And with the big 2 games that the Bears have had with the run game, that hasn't really made too much of a movement there. We are 25th in total defense, allowing 350 yards per game. 3rd in third down conversions. We're only allowing 30% on third down conversions. 68% of our red zone situations we allow scoring in. We got to get that tightened up. We're 24th in sacks and 1st in takeaways. But even despite, and that's why the numbers aren't the end-all be-all, because even despite those numbers, have a little bit of confidence in this team and what they can continue to be on the defensive side of the ball, especially with the players that we've gotten back from injury. So things are going well. Things are improving for the Bears. And like I said, that's despite what some Bears fans will have you believe where the state of this team is. And that's not to say that fans, again, can't criticism is one thing. Blind, uninformed hate because something doesn't go the way that you want it to go. There's not the person that you want in the position. That's different, right? But overall, we'll talk about that. It is what it is there, right? But for what it's worth, talking about the impact of Ben Johnson, Jaquan Brisker talked about how different the locker room is. And he said this. Yeah, it's definitely different in the locker room. Like I said, it starts in practice. You can feel it. The energy is different in practice. The way guys are getting closer, the way we meet without the coaches and things like that. And then the way we communicate on and off the field. It's amazing. You can tell things are trending up and guys are believing. That's what you want to hear. All right. And when I talked about and dropped the episode the other day that coaching makes a difference, these are the things that coaching makes a difference in. Right. This is a guy in Jaquan Brisker who this is the only team he's ever played for. And he's been through the Matt Eberflus era, right? He went through that. And now he's come out on the other side of that in the Ben Johnson era. I think it's important to hear how players talk about stuff. And, he also talked about the 4-game winning streak where he said this 4-2, we're on a 4-game winning streak. And we have a different coaching staff, a couple of different players, offense, defense, and special team. We're closer. We're actually closer as players and player coach. We're on one line. Everybody's on the same type of level. That's different. Now, I mean, one can look at this and say, well, what is he supposed to say about his new head coach? And great, right? But I think when you see the way that this team celebrates after games, the way that Ben Johnson actually leads and commands that locker room, there are things there that you cannot deny, right? You just can't overlook. It's a different feeling around this team. Now, we got to make sure that the results are going to be consistently different, and sometimes that's different than the feel around a team. And I won't act like that's not a thing, right? But you gotta look at how Ben Johnson and his staff is influencing these players, influencing where this team is going, right? So yeah, I think that when you look at Ben, what he's come in here and done is that he's helped provide a path for the Bears to get to the culture, right? We are developing that culture. And after an 0-2 start, one could say that it's not as easy to rally that team together, especially when some things still weren't going your way in your run game. You had a lot of players out with injury. You're missing some of your veterans, like you're missing one of your leaders on that defense in Jalen Johnson, who was going to be hugely important to this team on the field. So you're missing that leader, right? You're missing that. And so the fact that Al Harris, Dennis Allen, Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle, like what this coaching staff has brought into this team is a big and huge reason why there's a little bit more confidence around. We've had this channel for 4 years now. And I've seen so many people that are like, hey, I've been a Bears fan for 20 years. I've been a Bears fan for 30 years. This is the first time I feel like we're actually like, and it's great that to restore that feeling. It's a great place to be in as a franchise that is desperately needed that for years, right? And regardless of what some of the negative Nancy's say, because again, those same people that like to be negative, once the Bears do start consistently winning, don't let them make the wild card. It'll be a completely different story. Just because you like those people, the pessimistic people, don't understand the journey and what it takes to become a good football team. They have a very binary way of looking at things where it's like, oh, if you have a good draft, that means you have a good team. It's so much more that goes into that in building something, right? And it feels like the Bears are finally starting to build. And that's the thing that's different about this team. It seems like we are actually building a culture. It's not just, words given to building a culture. It is actually work that's being put in, examples that are being set, accountability that's being held by the coaching staff and the players to get us to that place. And that's what it seems like the Bears are finally doing and putting in that work to get there. Now we just got to see it, man. We just got to see it. So we shall see. Now, one of the other things that a lot of Bears fans are waiting to see is Austin Booker going to get back on the football field some, right? The Bears opened his 3-week return window, the practice window. He has not made his return 2 weeks after being majorly a full participant in practice. Now, I do think the short week played into that. Well, the Bears yesterday released to now passing on. I know I murder his name every time. They have released him, which does mean that opens up a active roster spot for the Chicago Bears, and many people are looking at Austin Booker to be that. Right now, Austin Booker placed on IR. early in the year. He missed, the first 6 games so far for the Chicago Bears. When you look at passing on, he had 5 tackles, 2 QB hits, and 1 tackle for a loss and 1 sack in his time. You're now looking at replacing that with Austin Booker, who had a great preseason, right? And so that's a good thing there, right? If the Bears can get Austin Booker back, that just provides you even more depth in a player that looked like they were ready to come into the season and make a step. There are 12 games left in the season now, and that's more than enough time to make an impact. That's more than enough time to show that, hey, that preseason glimpses that you saw, I'm about to come into the season and get ready to watch me work, right? And I hope that that's what happens, right? Passing on is probably going to go to the practice squad, or with the production that he has there, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody signs him. The fact that the Bears released a player that has had some pretty solid production as a backup does show that something is coming. And that player that could be coming back is Austin Booker. Listen, Montez Sweat has had a really good 2 games, right? Dayo Odeyingbo was never about stats for him. It's about how he consistently brings pressure. But if you have another guy that has those advanced moves, you saw it in preseason from Austin Booker. He has the advanced moves. He have those things that are going to help him kind of get over the hump there. You add into that, and then you just bring consistent pressure from that edge. Watch this thing start blowing up for the Bears, right? We already got TJ Edwards back. Kyler Gordon had a much better game in his second game back after returning from injury. We've seen all those things, and that's a good thing that this team is in. So now, with Austin Booker, we'll see. Right now, for what it's worth, Austin Booker did not get activated, back off IR quite yet, but I do think that that's coming. I do think that is coming, and it feels like it's something that's coming from him as well. So we will see, man. Getting Booker back is one of those things that I look at that can definitely help this team, give him a little shot in the arm. I know that a lot of people are looking and hoping that the Chicago Bears are going to make a trade, which we're going to talk about here in a second. A new trade target has popped up in a rumor, but the players that we got back so far are going to be that. And we haven't seen the best of Kyler Gordon yet. We haven't seen the best of TJ Edwards yet. We haven't seen TJ Edwards and Noah Sewell out there for a full game yet together. Can't wait to see that. As the Bears are starting to add more things back to this team, it's going to be interesting to see what Ryan Poles does. But with that said, a interesting trade target has now popped up recently. And with Tyreek Stevenson now also having a shoulder injury right now, we don't know exactly if he's going to be able to return in the game on Sunday. Tariq Woolen has been mentioned as a player that the Chicago Bears could potentially go after. This is a 6'4", 210-pound cornerback that's currently with the Seattle Seahawks. He's only 26 years old, so if you do acquire him, he fits the timeline if need be there, right? This is a guy that over his NFL career has played 17 games, 16 games, 15 games. Now, I already know before somebody gets to talking, oh, but Hayes, the number of games played has gone down every single season. Yeah, I get that, and that's a legitimate concern. I'm not going to act like it's not, but I think what you would be trying to bring him in for, you're trying to add some depth. Now, I was somebody left a voicemail the other day about cornerback. I said the cornerback isn't necessarily my biggest need right now for the Bears. It's not one of the top positions I would want to see the Bears go out and adjust. But when you look at it, Tariq Woolen has a reasonable $5.3 million contract right now and cap hit. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, so you can make a honest evaluation on what you want to do long-term for it. The question is how much would it take to get him in here, right? And that's the question for all of this, right? He can provide something for the Bears down the stretch of this game, no doubt about it. He's had some up and down play, right? But he did earn a Pro Bowl nod as a rookie. He led the league with 6 interceptions at that time. He has 11 career picks, 40 career pass breaks up. He is a ball hawk. And that is something that Dennis Allen does appreciate, especially with us leading the league in takeaways. So if the Bears do decide to look at Tariq Woolen and bring him in here, I'm not Tariq Woolen. I'm not mad at that at all. I think that would be something that, we've seen what Dennis Allen has done with Tyreek Stevenson. And so now bringing in Tariq in here potentially, I see that. I think a lot comes down to internally whether the Bears have announced it or not. Do they feel that Jalen Johnson is going to make a return? And if they don't feel like he's going to make a return, do they feel like the Bears have a legitimate shot at making at least a wild card berth? If so, calculated risk like going after a weak Woolen makes some sense for the Bears. Again, it makes some sense. The bigger question comes down to, is Ryan Poles prepared to make a move? Does he feel like where this team is it time to make a move, or is it time to hold your picks for now, Maybe wait till the offseason to start making some of those maneuvers. That's what this comes down to for the Chicago Bears. That's what this comes down to for the decision that Ryan Poles has to make as the trade deadline approaches. I've told you guys, I've warned you. I don't want everybody to freak out if the Bears don't make a big move at the trade deadline. I still think that it's most likely that the Bears kind of hold on to everything, continue to evaluate, maybe look at some buyout players, things like that. Maybe make a small trade with a day 3 pick, which, depending on who you're acquiring, could make a major impact for the rest of the way. But do not expect like the Max Crosbys, the Simmons, those type of trades. I would say don't expect that. If it does happen, great. It shows a level of aggression and confidence in where this team is. But don't put all your chips in that basket. Let's just stay there for a while. But that's my time for today. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. Not Bulls. You can follow us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.